Hello all. So in today's session, we'll be looking at a sample mock of Snap, and we'll also understand how do we quickly solve these questions in the least possible time so that we make sure that we get the maximum marks. At the same time, we make the most of the marks in the examination so that we can reach the cutoffs. Right. So before we start, I would like you to uh, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and also share this video amongst your friends who are preparing for CAT. So in this video, we'll be discussing all the tips and tricks of random questions. What should be in your mind the minute you see the questions, right? So these things should be, very much important when you're writing Snap exam because it's an exam of speed. At the same time, make sure you're keeping your calculations very accurate so that you're not losing out of time in the examination, right? So let's quickly get started. So the minute I see this question, two alloys A and B contain tin and copper in the ratios of 1:2 and 5:2 respectively. In what ratio should they be mixed so that the new ratio of tin and copper is 1:1? The minute I see this question, I read the first few words of the question. It should come to a mind that this question can be directly solved with the help of alligations. Right now, the minute I know alligations, I know that the proportion of tin would be in the first one would be 1/3, in the second one would be 5/7, and when I combine them, I together want 1/2. Clear? Now we understand that when I alligate, we need to subtract them, right? When we subtract them, denominator should be equal. So the shortcut for this would be take an LCM of 3, 7, and 2, which is going to be 3, 7, the 21, 2, the 42. So I multiply with 7 into 2 here, and I multiply the numerator also with 7 into 2. Now here I'll multiply with 3 into 2 to make the denominators equal. Here also I multiply with 3 into 2. And finally here I multiply with 3 into 7, and I multiply with 3 into 7. Now the shortcut that again students should keep in mind is when we alligate, we subtract and we find the ratio. That means if I'm making the denominators equal, the denominators will get cancelled. So in short, I would write this as 14, 30 and 21. So when I alligate them, this becomes 30 minus 21, that is equal to 9, and 21 minus 14 is equal to 7, which means they should be mixed in the ratio of 9:7 to make sure that the new ratio of copper and or tin and copper is 1:1. Right, so these small certain things that we need to keep in mind, right? Because what do I do here? If I subtract them, I would again write this as 14 minus 21, that is equal to 7 divided by 42 is 2. When I subtract these two, this I write again 9 divided by 42, and 42 and 42 gets cancelled, and so on and so on and so on. So rather than this, what we can directly do is we can just look at the numerator, that is 7 into 2, we write 14 at one place. Here I need to multiply 3 into 2, so 5 6 are 30 in the other place. And here I multiply 7 into 3, so I write 21 in the third place, and I directly calculate and get our final answer. Right? So let's move to the next question here. Now, can this be solved in a different manner? Of course, yes. You can also look at a very basic method, but trust me, that will be a, that will definitely take a lot of time in the examination. Now, let's try to understand it. So, I assume that I am taking 3x liters of the first one, which is in the form of x and 2x. Similarly, I take this as 7y, which would be in the form of 5y and 2y. So we can write this as x plus 5y divided by 2x plus 2y should be in the ratio of 1:1, or we can equate both of them. So we get x plus 5y is equal to 2x plus 2y, or we get x is equal to 3y. So once we get x is equal to 3y, we can replace here 3 into 3y would be 9y and 7y. That means they are mixed in the ratio of 9:7. So whatever comes to your mind immediately, your job would be is to start applying that and get your required answer. Right? Now let's look at this question. A man's present age is 3/10 the age of the father. So I write man is equal to 3/10 of the father's age, or this gives me the ratio of them. Man is to father is equal to 3/10, or I take man's age as 3x and father's age as 10x without going deeper into the question. Now after 12 years, so man would be 3x plus 12 and father would be 10x plus 12. Now the question says that the man's age would be 5/12 of his father's age. So when I cross multiply, this gives me 36x plus 144 is equal to 50x plus 60, or we get 84 is equal to 14x, or we get the value of x is equal to 6. So you should know that 14 6 is 84, or you can go with 7 12s, 7 2s, 2 1s, 2 6. Now what is the question asking us? Find the father's percentage. Now the father's percentage is 10x, and therefore the father's percentage becomes 10 into 6, that is going to be 60. So without wasting too much of time, I conclude and I get my required answer. Clear? Now let's look at this question. The number of ways in which 4 distinct balls can be put into 4 boxes labeled A, B, C, D, so that one of them remains 0. So in a way, if I am dividing 4 into 3 boxes, we will have to arrange 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 0, because one of them has to remain empty. Now in this question we select them and we also arrange them, right? So this becomes 4c2 into 2c1 into 1c1, and these 4 can arrange themselves in 4 different boxes in 4 factorial by 2 factorial ways. So that gives me 4c2 will give me 6 into 2 into 1 into 12. So 12 into 12, therefore my answer here becomes 144. So beautiful case where both selection and arrangement is considered, and we get our required answer here. Clear? Now let's look at the next question here. Now Robin lives 33 miles from his place of work. Okay. He rides his bike at a speed of 6 miles per hour for to reach a metro station. Okay. Let's say the metro station is somewhere here. Now he takes a metro to work, and that metro travels at 30 miles per hour. Okay. Now he spends 6 minutes less on metro as compared to his bike. Now let me, since the speed is given to me in miles per hour, let me assume that on bike he is traveling for x hours. So therefore on metro he would travel for 30 into x minus 6 minutes. Now 6 minutes is 1 by 10th of an hour. Now this is the distance from his house to metro, and this part is the distance from metro to office. Clear? So let's say this is office and this is house. Right? So this total distance we already have is equal to 33. Right? So if I simplify, this becomes 6x plus this becomes 30 into, if I take 10 as my LCM, this becomes 10x minus 1. So 0 and 0 gets cancelled, which is equal to 33. So we have 6x plus 30x minus 3 is equal to 33, or we have 36x is equal to 36, or we have the value of x is equal to 1. That means from his house to metro he has been traveling for 1 hour, and 54 minutes is the time for which he has been traveling from his metro to office. Now what is the question asking you? The question is asking the distance from his metro to his house, that is 6 into 1, which is going to be 6 miles, should be the required answer. So the thing that you should keep in mind is we have to equate the distance, we are given the speeds, and we will equate the time to get our required answer. So speed into time will give me the distance, and that is what we are doing in this question, right? Now the minute I see this question, this comes under profit and loss. The mark price of an article is 30% above the cost price. Now whenever these kind of numbers are involved, let me assume cost price is equal to 100x, which means the value of mark price will be equal to 130x. Now a discount of 20% is given. When I give a discount of 20%, so 20% of 130 is 130 by 5. Now 130 by 5 will give me how much, guys? There's a discount of 26x, which means the selling price is mark price minus discount, which will be equal to 104x. Now what is the gain percentage, right? So the gain percentage, if the cost price is 100, now whatever is the difference between cost price and selling price, that becomes the gain percentage. So therefore the gain percentage is going to be 4%, or that is going to be 4x divided by 100x multiplied by 100. X gets cancelled, 100 gets cancelled, and therefore the answer is going to be 4% here. Thus C becomes our required answer. Clear? So you should be very good at the basics, guys, so that the minute you see the question, your reaction time should be least possible, and you get into the calculations and get your required answer. Right? Now this question is a question on data interpretation. We are given information about science books, encyclopedia, and storybooks in 5 different libraries. Okay. Now what is the total number of encyclopedias in the library? Okay. At the same time, what is the ratio of science books is to encyclopedias is to storybooks in all the 3 libraries? So let's do both of them at the same time. So science books are going to be 480, 640, 820, 740. Clear? Now, generally sometimes students write all these, right? If you are very keen on writing all these, you can as well do that. So this becomes 0. 8 plus 2 gives me 10. 10 plus 8 is 18. 18 plus 8 is 26. 6 I carry 2. 4 plus 6 is 10. 8 plus 2 is also 10, that is 20. 20 plus 14 is going to be 3460. Will be total number of science books. Now let's look at encyclopedias. Encyclopedias are going to be 960. Then we have 720. And then we have 430. And then we have 730. And then we have 680. So it's okay if you take a bit of time. But since there are two questions involved, make sure you're not committing a calculation mistake. 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 6 is 22. 2 I carry 2. 9 plus 7 is 16. 16 plus 4 is 20. 20 plus 13 is 33. 33 plus 2 is 35. So we got the first answer. 3520 are the total number of encyclopedias. And finally, I'm looking at the number of storybooks, that is 240 plus 460 will give me 700, plus 630 will give me 1330, plus 430 will give me 1760. 1760 plus 240 will give me 2000. So 2000 will be the total number of storybooks. So 0, 0 and 0 gets cancelled. If I divide by 2, this is going to be 173. This is going to be 176 and this is going to be 100, and therefore the final answer is going to be 173 is to 176 is to 100. Right? However, I would not advise you to go by this if you are good at calculations. You can go by this method only and only if you believe that your calculations might be a little hazy. If your calculations are good, you can go by a verbal method of calculation. You can all first add up zeros and ignore the deviation. So let's say I take 400 plus 600 is 1000. 1000 plus 800 is 1800. 1800 plus 700 is 2500. 2500 plus 700 is 3200. Now let's add the remaining ones. So this is 80 plus 40 is 120. 120 plus 20 is 140. 140 plus 80. 140 plus 80 is 220. 220 plus 3220 will give me 3. So 240. So that becomes 3460. Clear? I repeat, 80 plus 40 is 120. 120 plus 20 is 140. 140 plus 40 is 180. 180 plus 80 is 260. So 3200 plus 260 will give you 3460. Similarly, we can add the remainings and get our answer, but as I told you, only if you're sure of your calculations, go by this method. Else, since two questions are involved, you can always write them neatly, calculate them, make sure you get two answers correct and get your final answers. Right? Now the average marks obtained by 52 candidates in a certain examination is 38. If the average of the pass marks, the pass students are 40 and the failed students are 14, then what is the number of candidates who pass the examination? Now we can always look at it as, if I allocate the average, I get the number of students here. So I can directly allocate them. You should know this process, right? So this will give us 24 and this will give us 2, which means they are in the ratio of 12 is to 1. So 13 parts is equal to 52, which means one part will be equal to 4. So how many students passed? That is 12 into 4. That means 48 students passed the examination, and this method will help you to get the answer in the least possible time. If not, we can always look at it as, let's say x students passed. So 40 into x is the sum total. 14 into 52 minus x students failed. So 14 into 52 minus x divided by 52 is equal to 38. But trust me, this method will take a lot of time. At the same time, a lot of calculations are involved. So there might be a possibility that, we might end up getting a wrong answer there. Right? So let's look at the next question here. Now this question is talking about PQ is parallel to RS and PR is also parallel to QS. So angle LPR given to us is 35. So this angle, I'm sorry, let me change the ink. Yep. So this angle given to us is 35. If this is 35, I can look at LM and PR as two lines. So this angle also becomes 35. Or vertically opposite angles. Similarly, UST is given to us as 70. If this is 70, then this also part becomes 70. Now since vertically opposite angles, since PQ and RS are parallel, these two become my interior angles. So interior angles are always supplementary. So this part becomes 110. Similarly, since SQ and PR are parallel, RU works as a transversal. So these two angles are also supplementary. So this part becomes 110, and if this part becomes 110, this part becomes 70. Now we can see that this whole part is an angle in a straight line. So if this is 35 and this is 70, that is 105. So this part becomes 75 degrees, and that is what we are asked. MPQ is equal to how much? And therefore the answer of MPQ is equal to 75, and that becomes our required answer here. Right? Now let's look at this question. We are given 2 log 12 by 24. So I can write this as log 1 by 2 whole square minus log 25 by 162 plus log 4 by 9. So if I simplify these two can be written as log 1 by 4 divided by 25 by 162 plus this can be written as log 4 by 9. So let's simplify this. So this can be written as log 1 by 4 into 162 by 25. This is log A minus log B, which is log A by B, plus this becomes log A plus log B will always be log A into B. So I can simplify this as 1 by 4 into 162 by 25 into 4 by 9. So this 4 and this 4 gets cancelled. This is 9 ones are 9 and 9 eights are 72. So our simplified format becomes log 18 by 25 becomes our final answer, and therefore option D becomes our final answer. So basic properties of log that we are applying here is equal to log A minus log B. If they are in same base, then we can always write that as log A by B. Similarly, if I'm talking about log M plus log M, if they are in the same base, then we can write this as log M into N. So these are the basic properties that I'm talking about, which you should have kept in your fingertips, and that will help you to get your answer in the least possible time. Right? Now the population of Zambia increases by 10% every year for the 2 years, and then decreases by 10% for the next 2 years. Right? So the population was 1 lakh. Now we should know that if there is a 10% increase, the multiplying factor becomes 110 by 100 for first year, again 110 by 100 for the second year. If the decrease of 10%, this becomes 90 by 100 for the third year and 90 by 100 for the fourth year. So this will be the population of Zambia in 2014. So let's cancel zeros here. Individual zeros get cancelled. And then I have 4 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, and these 4 zeros will get cancelled. So 11 square into 9 square, that is 121 into 81. So this is going to be 121. 8 ones are 8. 8 2s are 16. 6 I carry 1. And 8 ones are 8 plus 1 is 9. So this is 1, this is 0, this is 8, and this is 9. And then we add a 0 to it. So 98010 becomes the final value. Need not apply successive percentage change because we are asked the final value, and therefore we get the final answer. When do I apply successive percentage change? Basically when the question is asking us the change required in the question. Right? Now, a hollow cylinder of internal and external radii of 8 centimeters and 10 centimeters respectively and height 5 centimeters is melted and is recast into smaller cones of base radius 3 centimeters and height of 5 centimeters. First thing we should know is whenever I'm recasting, so volume of the hollow cylinder should be equal to n number of cones into volume of the cone. So for this we need to know two things. What is volume of a hollow cylinder? Volume of a hollow cylinder would be equal to pi into outer radius minus inner radius squares into h, and volume of a cone will be 1 by 3 into pi into r square into h. So since I can see pi gets cancelled, h gets cancelled, both the heights are same, we can directly use in one formula. So this can be written as pi into, this is 10 square minus 8 square into 5, which is equal to n into 1 by 3 into pi into r square into h. So So this 5 and this 5 gets cancelled, this 3 and this 3 gets cancelled, this pi and this pi gets cancelled. So what do we have here? We have 36 is equal to n into 3, or 3 ones are 3 12s are. So we directly get the value of n is equal to 12, and that becomes our final answer. So therefore the final answer of this question becomes 12. Right? So the formula should be very handy, the property should be very handy, so that we get the answer very easily. Now, the chances of winning of two race horses is 1 by 3 and 1 by 6. The probability that at least one will win the horse. Now we should know that at least one is always calculated as total minus none. First point to remember in this question. Second point to remember in this question is going to be, if probability of the first horse winning is equal to 1 by 3, then the probability of the first horse not winning will be equal to 2 by 3. Similarly, if the probability of the second horse winning is equal to 1 by 6, then probability of second horse not winning is equal to 5 by 6. So what is the property we are applying? Probability of the event plus probability of the non-occurrence of the event should always be equal to 1. Right, so total probability is equal to 1 minus none of them winning. None of them winning means the first guy does not win, at the same time the second guy also does not win. So this becomes 10 by 18. 10 by 18 is equal to nothing but 5 by 9. So 1 minus 5 by 9. We can calculate this as 9 by 9 minus 5 by 9, which will give us the final answer as 4 by 9 should be the probability that at least one horse will win the race. Clear, guys? So these are the properties that we are generally talking about. The number of times the digit 3 will be written while listing all the integers from 1 to 1000. Now we need to understand that whenever we are writing all the numbers from 1 to, let's say, 99, any digit will appear how many times? 20 times. Now when I'm writing from 100 to 99, 199, apart from the hundreds digit, rest all are again 0 to 99, which means again I'll have 29s or 23s. Similarly, 200 to 299, also the number of 3's appearance will be 20 times. Now, from 300 to 399, we need to understand that in every place in the hundred, in every number in the hundreds place, we have a 3. And then we have 0, 0 to 99. So the number of 3's will be 20 plus 100. Clear? We should know this part because from 300 to 399, every number has a 3 involved in the first place. 300, 301, 302, 303. So these 3's will be 100 3's. And from 00 till 99 will be 23's. Clear? Similarly, from 400 to 499, we will have 20 times. 500 till 599 will again have 20 times. 600 till 699 will again have 20 times. 700 till 799 will again have 20 times. 800 till 899 will again have 20 times, and finally we have 900 till 999 will again have 20 times. So how many 20s do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 20s is 200 plus this 100. That means the number of times the digit 3, or in fact the number of times any digit will appear, will be 300 times. Clear? Except 0, all the other digits will be making their appearance 300 times whenever we are writing the numbers from 1 to 1000. Clear? Now I need to complete the series. I need to look at this as 15, 16, 18, dash, 30 and 46. So there's a gap of 1 here and there's a gap of 2 here. So one indication says 1 plus 2 plus 3, but if I write 3 here, it doesn't work. So let's go by options here. 34 is out of question. Let's replace 24. If I replace 24, this gap becomes 6 and this also gap becomes 6, whereas this gap becomes 16, which is not working. There's no random connection between the gaps. So I'm looking at 15, 16, 18, dash. So 24 is out of question. 30 and 46. Now let's look at the next option is 22. So this gap is 1, this gap is 2, this gap is 4, this gap is 8, and this gap is 16. So I can see this as powers of 2 1, then I have 2 to the power 1, then I have 2 square, then I'm adding 2 cube, and then I'm adding 2 to the power 4. So this sequence is working for us, so therefore option C becomes your final answer. Right? Now let's look at this question. So I have cos square 15 and plus I have cos square 75. So what should we know? That cos 90 minus theta is equal to sin theta. At the same time, I should understand that cos square theta plus sin square theta is equal to 1. So these two, if I know, I can get the answer. So I can write this as cos square 15 plus cos square 75 minus common. I can take this as cos square 30 plus cos square 60, and then plus I can write this as cos square 45. So this can be further written as cos square 15 plus, this can be written as cos square 90 minus 15. This is one part. Minus the second part can be written as cos square 30 plus this can be written as cos square 90 minus 30 plus we have a cos square 45. So if I know this much, I should be able to get the answer, because this gives me cos square 15 plus this gives me sin square 15, which is equal to 1, minus this will again give me cos square 30 plus sin square 30, which will again be equal to 1, and then plus we have cos square 45. Now cos square 45 is going to be 1 by root 2 whole square. So 1 minus 1 will get cancelled. 1 by root 2 whole square will eventually give you 1 by 2, and therefore 1 by 2 becomes our answer, and thus 1 by 2 becomes the final answer given to us. Right? Now a very important question, a very difficult one. So 5, 2, 3, 3, 8, 17.5 and dash. So now let's try to understand. Now 5 into 0.5 is 2.5 minus 0.5 will give me 2. 2 into 1 plus 1 will give me 3. So if I connect 3 and 3 again, so I can connect this as 3 into 1.5 minus 1.5 will again give me 3. So if you're able to understand, I'm multiplying with 0.5, subtracting 0.5, multiplying with 1, adding 1. So every gap is increasing by 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 each. So let's understand this. 3 into 2 plus 2, which is satisfying our given condition, that is 8. Similarly, I go with 8 into 2.5 minus 2.5. 8 into 2.5 is 20. 20 minus 2.5 will give me 17.5, which is also working here. So therefore, our final answer becomes 17 into 3. Sorry, 17.5 into 3 minus 3. So 17.5 into 3 is going to be 52.5 minus, sorry, plus 3. Plus 3 will eventually give us 55.5 should be our final answer, and which is also there in the options, and that becomes our final answer. So very important for us to find the trend and then go ahead from the calculations and get the final answer. Right, now what do we have here? We have two pipes A and B. When they are working alone, they can fill the tank in 36 and 45 minutes respectively, and type C can fill it in 30 minutes. So when you do take the LCM, that's the most challenging part here. Start from multiples of 45. 45 ones are 45, doesn't work. 45 twos are 90. 90 is a multiple of 30 but not 36. Then let's go with multiples of 90. 92 is 180. So 180 is 36 into 5, 45 into 4, and 30 into minus 6, because tap C is emptying the tank. Okay. So first taps A and tap B are open for 7 minutes. So in 7 minutes, how much is filled? 7 nines are 63 is already filled. Now to be filled is how much going to be? To be filled further is equal to 180 minus 63. That is equal to 117. Now in how many more minutes will the tank fill if all the three of them are open? So if all the three of them are open, effectively per minute only 3 units are being filled. So how much more time? That is 117 by 3. That gives me 39 should be the required answer. I repeat, here n is the number of days, r is the efficiency, and n into r will give us the total work. I'm sure that you should be comfortable with the table to get the required answer. Right? Now, what will be the remainder when 351 into 352 into 353 and so on, so on, so on till 356 is divided by 360. Now, we need to understand a simple property that the product of n consecutive numbers, okay, n consecutive natural numbers is always divisible by n factorial. These are 6 consecutive natural numbers, so they will always be divisible by 6 factorial, which is 720, or perfectly divisible by factors of 720. Now, since 360 is definitely a factor of 720, which means the product will definitely be divisible by 360 also. And if it is definitely divisible by 360, the answer is going to be 0, which means they are exactly divisible, and therefore the remainder will be 0. Now, the last question of this session, guys, a to the power x is equal to x plus y plus z whole to the power y. A to the power y is equal to x plus y plus z whole to the power z, and a to the power z is equal to x plus y plus z whole to the power x. Now, on the left hand side, I'm seeing a common, so let's multiply them. If I multiply them, this becomes a to the power x into a to the power y into a to the power z is equal to x plus y plus z whole to the power y into x plus y plus z whole to the power z into x plus y plus z whole to the power x. So we can write this as a to the power x plus y plus z, and this can also be written as x plus y plus z to the power x plus y plus z. So from here we can conclude that a is equal to x plus y plus z. Now our job is to look at the options. Clear? So if I look at the options, let's look at the first option. X is equal to y is equal to z is equal to a by 3. So let's assume that x is equal to y is equal to z. Let's say is equal to k. So we have this as k plus k plus k is equal to a, or a is equal to 3k, or we get a by 3 is equal to k. So if I replace k here, which is equal to a by 3, so the first option is giving us the required answer. I can always go ahead with this as x is equal to y is equal to z, which is also equal to a by 3. Right, guys, so this ends the session on quant. I hope you understood how quickly you are supposed to calculate the questions and what are the points that you should be keeping in mind when you are looking at any question in SNAP examination. Remember, the challenge is to maintain the speed and also hold accuracy of calculations. So, a lot of students lose their marks when it comes to accuracy of calculations, right? So please make sure you don't lose out on marks when it comes to calculations in the examination. And I hope you learned something from this video. Stay tuned for the next video. All the best. Thank you, guys.